Welcome back to Lights, Mics and Studios. My name's Charl, and this is the I Am Youth Movement's YouTube page, more specifically, as I said, Lights, Mics and Studios. I'm your presenter on this video, and in this we discuss usually professional audio, or we just look at the Bible and discuss stuff in life the moment I can get my English actually to proper functioning properly. So, what I want to talk about is the continuation of what we started 2 weeks ago, called the Love Challenge. I started the Love Challenge. I prayed to God with regards to love, and my life sort of fell apart. I didn't release a video last week because I was in hospital with my son, in actual fact, which is far worse than being in hospital for yourself. My son was admitted to hospital with 2 viruses and 1 infection or something like that. So, to me, that's just exactly how the enemy wants to take us out when we are praying, not necessarily for protection and stuff, but just thanking God for who He is, just doing the Love Challenge. Now, what I want to do today is discuss an old story found in the very first book in the Old Testament, showing how God loves us. Now, the book is Genesis, and the chapter is chapter 15. Very often we read the Old Bible, or not the Old Bible, we read the Old Testament, and then we think that God is so angry in the Old Testament and so loving in the New Testament. And this morning I want to prove to you that that's not the fact, especially in chapter 15. So Genesis chapter 15 starts with Abram being afraid and said, God, I'm afraid. And the Lord answered him and said, do not be afraid, I will be your shield, I will be your protector. I will be. He's got this. It's difficult to explain to you in English what he's saying, because we read it in the Hebrew and it doesn't make a lot of sense. But he said, I will glorify you. I will be your glory. And then Abraham asked God and said, but how can this be? How will this be? And then he said, you will have a son. God answers him and said, you will have a son. He will be as your inheritance will be as much as the stars in the sky. And then the story continues. But again, Abram asked God, how can this be? And then God says to him, go get a couple of animals, cut them in half, except the 2 birds, which was a pigeon and a dove. Except for them, cut them in half and let them open. Now, the moment you do that, in the olden days, Abram knew that he was going to get to make a commitment to God. He's going to sign a legal document, in pretty much. Nowadays, we just sign and get 2 people to witness. But in the old times, in the olden days, they had to cut these animals open, then walk through the 2 animals, and then show to the party with whom you're signing the contract with, saying to them, like, I will be like this animals if I betray you, if I do not come to what is expected of me in this contract. I will be like these animals. I will be split open. I will have the birds of prey attacking me. I will be open to the wilderness. May I be like these animals if I don't keep my word. A lot harsher than just signing a contract and getting 2 people to witness at the bottom. So that's pretty much what Abram did. And then he fell asleep. He chased away the birds of prey, and then he fell asleep. And then he woke up and he saw something very, very interesting. He saw a smoking pot, smoking chimney. Again, it's sort of difficult to translate it to English so that makes sense. But what happened is he saw this bright light, and it was God passing through the animals. Abram expected to cut open the animals and him having to walk through and then made a new commitment to God. But it wasn't. It was actually God that passed through these animals in between the cut open pieces. I know it's gruesome, but he passed through to Abram to show to him, listen, Abram, I am making a commitment to you. May I become like these animals if I'm not the one that's protecting you. May I be split open. May I be the food for birds of prey and jackals and the animals of the wilderness. God made that covenant to Abram. And obviously, we know that the protector that He is, that God is, was actually found in Jesus Christ. We see that how He was the resurrection, how He became the righteousness for Abram as well as for all of us, is the fact that His Son Jesus Christ came. I don't want to tell you that story because obviously in every story in the Bible we can see Jesus coming and the coming of Jesus. But I want to tell you that story so that you can know in this month of love that God loved us right from the beginning. From the word go, from Genesis, which literally means the beginning, God loved us and loved you and loved me. So go through this love month thinking about Valentine's Day. I know it's gone and it's done and dusted, and we don't even think about it anymore. But we still see the remains of teddy bears and mugs and hearts and everything. But whenever you see that, remember who loved you first and who loved you right from the beginning. That of course is God and His Son Jesus Christ. Be blessed. Looking forward to spend a couple of minutes with you again next week.